Let's see. We got Ryan up, says, yo, Frankie, hands down, this is one of the best books I've ever read. And as you can see, it's not just a book, it's a study guide for me. So I'm going to dedicate the next 12 months to this. Already have things in motion. I do currently have one question, though. With ChatGPT becoming more and more popular and easy to use, can we still offer article writing, magazine writing to shoe stores? Or do you have any alternatives you can recommend? Thanks. Joe says, I see a lot of people in agencies still pitching SEO services, but some very smart people I listen to are saying that Google traffic is at a standstill, if not totally dead. Not many people clicking on the links anymore. What do you think? Mike asks, what tool does everyone use for managing client projects, communication, billing? Welcome back, everybody, all of my fine agency owners, to another weekly Q&A. Shenanigans, and you guys are asking smart questions. By the way, I looked at the questions that were on tap for this week, and I'm super stoked. A lot of you guys, like, the most typical questions I get are about like outreach and how do I message people and how do I get responses and can you look at my offer, and I find all those things interesting. But I'll tell you personally, where I'm at is marinating on where the market is, where the opportunities. I feel like we're actually in the biggest single opportunity of our entire lives, and there is a small window of time for you to get obscenely wealthy. Not that there won't be other opportunities later, but there's just some things that AI has created that are affecting the marketplace that are going to like really revolutionize everything. And if you're ahead of it, you're going to be one of those people who got into Bitcoin when it was $3 or 80 cents, like you almost can't lose. And if you're behind it, you're going to be thumb up your ass wondering what happened several years down the road. And this very, very much affects agencies. And then the questions we got asked this week are related to that. So I'm super stoked to be joining you guys once again. I don't have anything that I wanted to share with you guys other than I'm stoked about that. So let's get into the good stuff. Let me take the old swig of water before we do. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Fihn proudly brings you our weekly Q&A. With the man that they call the man, the greatest of all time, His Holiness, with the golden dad guns. All right, too much wrestling. First question we got up. Our man Stockman says, a lot of people are saying AI will kill off agencies. What is your take? In what way? And how can we adapt rather than getting killed by it? Facebook and Google has invested billions on AI to bypass agencies. Example, auto-generated ad creatives and copy. All right. So let's talk about a few things here, okay? So as I mentioned, I'm going to go back in time a little bit. There was a period of time, let's call it 1995. It could be plus or minus a couple of years. But I had friends who sold $100,000 websites. I still have friends who sell $100,000 websites. But I have friends who made basic websites for $100,000. And part of the secret is they got into it so early. They got into it in the days when people would ask the question, hey, do you know anybody who does websites? And the average answer was, no, I don't even know where you would find somebody like that. And so when they found somebody, they were willing to wait and pay, like I said, $100,000 to get a business website made. You can still sell websites for $100,000, but now you have 1,000 competitors. Also, like, I look at it now, like, I've seen some people getting into graphic design, right? Like, graphic design in those early days of the internet when you were the only one doing it versus now where you can get it made on Canva, you can get it made on Fiverr. There's thousands of graphic designers. If you make a post, 8,000 people will come out of the woodwork and can help you with it. I'm not saying you can't make money in both marketplaces, but man, when you are in a marketplace before everyone else, it's kind of like a cheat code. Like I mentioned, for those of you guys who got into Bitcoin in the early days, like I have a lot of friends who made money in crypto, and they will tell you 10,000 reasons why they got rich in crypto. And almost always there's one. They got in early. That's it. Like that's the secret fucking reason is they got in early on some shit before it blew up, before everyone else. And because of it, they were able to like substantially grow and made a bunch of money. Okay, so relating this back to AI, okay? Actually, one more example, and then I'll relate this back to AI and where things are going forward. Okay, so the first thing is When I started SEO in like 2007, it was the same thing. People would go, "Hey, do you know anybody who does SEO?" And people would go, "No, I don't." Right? You compare that to now, they get 100 SEO pitches a week in their inbox minimum, right? And there's no shortage of people selling it. So the reason I tell you this is because if you are first and you create marketplace kind of space before everyone else, you're going to have a fuck ton of time easier. Now, this is one guy's opinion. I don't have a crystal ball, but almost every business is going to go through a period of time where they start to realize what's possible with AI, and they're going to need help doing it. Now, I talked to one of our friends in our mastermind, Dave P, shout out there if you're watching, our man Dave. And Dave was talking about, Dave's been creating software for 30 years. And he said what happened in the beginning stages is there was no software to do anything in business, right? So people would like, hey, can you make me a CRM? And so there were all these like new solutions, and things like Salesforce and HubSpot came to be. Then eventually what happened is over 10 years, every like at least the basics, every basic business tool you could imagine got created, and the market shifted away from how do I make software to now companies go, how do I pick? There's 10 different software. Which one is right for me? How do we set it up? Can you teach us? Can you train us? Can you get us up to speed to using it? So I'm just letting you know that at the very least, that same sort of market phenomenon is going to happen with AI. There's going to be an abundance of tools created, and businesses are going to be overwhelmed with choice. They're not going to know how to navigate it. They're not going to know how to implement it. And they're going to pay you not to come in and be I'm Mr. Do It For You, but rather I can set you up. I can get you organized. I can train your staff. I can get you up to speed on it, and I can help you guys implement it for the long term so that you can actually fucking use it. Okay, so consulting is going to become a bigger thing. Like AI consulting is not really a giant thing now, but I promise you. And again, this is one guy's opinion. I don't have a crystal ball, so I try to make only predictions on things that I'm like 99.9% certain. Like, here's a prediction. Do you think over the next 5 years there'll be less content or more, with the ability to make content super easily with AI? Less content or more, right? Clearly it's going to be fucking more, right? So even without a crystal ball, you can look at that and go, that's the direction it's going to trend. It's just how it is. Like, so same kind of thing, right? So I want you to understand that, like, every time in business you solve a problem, this is true in life, it creates a new problem. The goal is to have better problems, but not to be free of problems, just so you know. So I was talking to somebody else. We just moved out of my dream house. We're downsizing and building some land up. But I remember one of my big problems is we had a big open field behind us, and rats would come in, and I had chicken food in my pool house, and the rats would like burrow under my pool house. But if you had told me, like, I don't know, 20 years ago, that I'd live in my dream house in paradise, and I'd have 5 bedrooms, 5 baths, and we'd overlook the ocean, and I have a pool, and, you know, a maid and a cleaner, and a chicken guy, and a guy who waters my plants, and a landscaper, and a guy who cleans my car and shit like that. Those are good problems to have, right? So I say this because, like, if you look at an agency, you start out with, I don't have any clients. And if you eventually solve that problem, you have a new problem called fulfillment problems. Like, how do I make good on these promises I made? And then eventually you have a new problem called, how do I hire people and get good people to take this work off my plate? Then you have a new problem called, I got to manage this structure that I built. Then you got a new problem called, like, problems of scale, where the quality of our brand is slipping, and the company ain't as good as it used to, and there's little cliques inside of the company, and Jenny and Steve are only getting promoted because they're kissing ass and going golfing with the boss and shit like that, right? So the problems only shift. So I want you guys to, like, if you really understand that, like, there'll be new problems. You're not going to be out of fucking work. And because of it, because there's going to be a shortage of people who know how to solve those new problems, you can be in exponentially high demand. Exponentially. But I'll tell you what is not going to stay the same, okay? Most of you guys who are selling services are not going to sell services in the next 2 to 5 years that the same way you do now. I'll give you an example of this. Somebody laughed at me, actually. They said, ha ha ha. I said, you watch. You're not going to be able to sell websites in 2 to 5 years the way you sold it. And somebody said, well, I sold a $10,000 website today. Ha 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 ha. You're so smart. Well, just so you know where we're at today, not as some futuristic AI thing. I have my own custom GPT where I can write all the winning website copy. We're using this to create agency websites, but you could really use this for anything. And we can create the entire prompt for all the pages on an agency website. Then we go give that to another tool and we say, here you go. This is the website I'm trying to build. And it goes, blah, 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 and it spits out a finished website. We can do that 2 fucking minutes, okay? When the average business owner finds out that they can do that, do you think they're going to pay you $10,000? When I first started, I remember the first landing page I built, I paid a guy a few $100s to integrate it with my email autoresponder, like the technical side of it, not the copy, not the messaging, not the design, just like I needed to, like when somebody clicks submit email, it actually fucking works, okay? Those people do not exist today. And web design, and you ain't going to be selling $900 a month fucking pay-per-click or $3,000 a month pay-per-click when they can click a button and generate their own ads and targeting. Even if, by the way, even if those variations are shit, at the end of the day, like for the most part, like they're just not going to be paying people for that. But it will shift. There will be need for tools. There will be need for software. There will be need to integrate things with their systems. There will be need for consulting. There will be need for, can you train my staff how to use this shit? There will be need for, hey, something broke, how do we fix it? There will be a need for, what do we need? This is what we're trying to accomplish. Which tools do this best? So I want you guys to understand, like, our need is not going away, but if you don't recognize it's shifting, you're going to sell websites and shit that's dying till the very last day, and you'll be like the guy who sold integrations for landing pages, and now 10 years later going, you know, I can use ClickFunnels, I can use Go High Level, I can use Lead Pages, Unbounce, I can use 47 tools and do that in a fucking click. Right? That person doesn't fucking exist. But there's a new problem going, how do I set up my landing pages? Which tool do we use? Do we even need a landing page for what we're trying to do? What do we say on the landing page? Like the real basics of strategy and psychology, they're not fucking going anywhere. They just got supercharged with AI. And so you have an opportunity to be the person like who is in 1995 selling $100,000 websites, and they said, do you know anybody else who makes a website? And they said, no, I don't. And that can be you. So the opportunity is unparalleled. Carl Hitchborn and I are working on what we believe is a $100 million solution, and we're building like modular software. So if you think of the way modular homes are built, where like, you know, this is the copy and paste living room, and then if they want to build a new house, they don't have to reinvent the living room each time. Well, we're building modular software so that we build things based on AI and integrate them with tools like N8N and Make so that we can do certain functions, but then we can take that fucking living room and put it in a new software, meaning we intend to get to the point where we're launching a new software like every day or every other day based on modules we created in various industries and reuse tools. So I'm not saying you guys have to do that. I'm just telling you where we're at with it. But I want you guys to know you are safe as long as you like adapt. Adapt. The shit is changing, right? Think about the businesses that hung on to the fucking yellow pages till the very last fucking day, right? The yellow pages salesman was probably hustling. The newspaper guy was hustling. That didn't go away. It just changed, right? When the printing press came out, it's not like gossip stopped. It just changed media. It changed direction, right? So this is a technological leap, probably the biggest of our lifetime. I think it's even bigger than the fucking internet. Like I saw the other day, there was a robot that lays tiles. It uses an AI algorithm, right? Like a lot of people think the stuff that's the safest are the trades, but when a tile setting fucking robot is cheaper, faster, shows up on time, don't bitch, who the fuck is going to hire a person, right? But at the end of the day, somebody's going to need to know, how do we set up this fucking tile setting robot? Which algorithm? Should we use this software or that one? There's 37 choices on the market. Have you tried this robot or that robot, right? I think they're going to need somebody who knows how to navigate that space. So I'm just letting you guys know, it's shifting. That's it. It's fucking shifting, but it's shifting in a massive way. And if you adapt ahead of it, you're going to be in such a good position. Like I think in 2007, how easy it was to sell SEO because they didn't know anybody else except me. By mid 2008, there were hundreds of SEO people that entered the market because they started selling all these courses and training, how you can get rich selling SEO to local businesses. And by a year and a half later after I started, it was competitive. But when I first started, there was like an 18-month window where it was not competitive, and it was actually very easy to sell because they didn't know anyone else who knew how to do what I knew how to do. And I just self-taught myself, right? I just went to like try some shit and figure it out, right? And almost always, by the way, like most basic business functions are like just look at what they're trying to do and how can that be accelerated and automated or delegated and removed and things like that. It's like it's going to be real basic stuff they're trying to do. And I always say, by the way, I think the biggest opportunity is not on the sales and marketing side of businesses. So whatever your industry is, doesn't fucking matter. You work with dentists. Almost everybody's going to try and make social media content, AI chat bots, blah, blah, blah. You know what nobody's going to try and help them do? The boring work, admin, paperwork, insurance documents, right? That's the kind of shit I actually think is the massive opportunity because you help them get massive amounts of work off their plate and you're not going to be competing with 10,000 marketers. So anyways, that's first part of the rant. I'm sure I'll have more because we got a few questions of this type today. Let's see. We got Ryan up, says, yo, Frankie, hands down, this is one of the best books I've ever read. And as you can see, it's not just a book, it's a study guide for me. So I'm going to dedicate the next 12 months to this. Already have things in motion. I do currently have one question, though. With ChatGPT becoming more and more popular and easy to use, can we still offer article writing, magazine writing to shoe stores? Or do you have any alternatives you can recommend? Thanks. So for those of you guys who are not familiar with the question, by the way, I appreciate the kind words there, Ryan. For those of you guys who are not familiar with the idea of shoe stores, this is a Dan Kennedy thing that people give me credit for. But Dan Kennedy says, if you think of your services or your offer like selling shoes, what most people do is they go looking for somebody who's barefoot and then struggle to sell shoes because they get replies like, hey, we've grown 30 years without shoes. We're okay. We managed without a social media and a website, those kind of comments. And he says, what you really want to do is sell shoes to somebody who has 30 pairs of shoes in the closet. And what I figure, or 200 pairs of shoes in the closet, rather. And what I figured out that's kind of a hack is if people are buying shoes, they have to go to the shoe store somewhere to get them. And if you can position yourself as either part of the shoe store or stand in front of it, and somehow collaborate, work with them, you'll sell a whole bunch faster. Now, what most people don't understand is the real purpose of working with shoe stores. What you are really after, and this is the most valuable thing that cannot be quantified, what you are after is in a word called endorsement. Okay? So the way to think about endorsement is like this. Imagine Warren Buffett gets on TV and he says, hey, I'm investing in Tom's business, and I think you should too. That's all he says. 2 sentences. What do you think is going to happen to Tom's business by the morning? Like, he's going to have fucking $100 billion in the fucking bank. Why? Because Warren Buffett said to do it. And ultimately, there are people in every marketplace that are not nearly as famous as Warren Buffett, much easier to reach, but have spent an eternity building relationships with plumbers or dentists or doctors, whoever it is you're trying to reach. And they often have spent 10 years going to conferences and shaking these people's hands and giving them valuable tools and resources and how are the kids and I bought you a gift. And they've done that for decades and decades and decades. So when we publish our stuff in their stuff, we get something that you don't get if you do the same thing on your own, which is a single word that starts with T. It's called trust. And when you have trust as, hey, this person's an expert, I know because I saw them in the industry association, I know because I read them in Plumbing Today magazine or whatever, that's what you get. And so part of the reason they have that trust is because they have some sort of editorial / filtering process in place, meaning they don't just allow anyone. Just so you guys know, I'm a mini influencer / shoe store in the agency space, and I get pitched shit. Like, I was just looking at something I got pitched yesterday. It was some software, and they were like, we'll pay you a bunch of money to go promote our shit. But what they didn't do is they didn't establish the fact that it's actually any good for my marketplace, that it solves any sort of meaningful problem that would actually be helpful to you guys. Ergo, I didn't promote it, okay? I could have and sold my soul for a little lousy commission, but I don't because I believe in the power of a brand and a reputation. And so most of the people, if they're publishing their stuff, you get a sort of halo of trust. And so, yes, you can publish content in their magazines because there's an editorial process in place. And so people still value it. In fact, we just did this a year ago where we published something in some of the industry magazines and they put us on the front cover and sent it out to 32,000 contractors. And, you do all right when 32,000 contractors read your front cover article, right? Just how it is. So what you're really after with a quote unquote shoe store is the long term relationship. So this is like multi touch. Like this screws people up because most people are thinking about it not like dating where you got to go on a bunch of dates and build a relationship. They're thinking about this like a pickup artist. Like, what do I say to get laid tonight? And I'm not saying you can't get laid tonight, but that's a poor way to approach it. If you look at it like it might take me 7 dates to get to the level of their endorsement, but once they endorse me, there's $100 billion in the bank because Warren Buffett said to do it. Like I know for me, when the top or one of the top guys anyway in the legal industry, the guy who ran the industry events and put on the conferences and had all the top mastermind and worked with all the top lawyers, when he said Frankie Fihn is the guy for this, like millions, like literal millions in the fucking bank show up and fast. And by the way, they'll break all your fulfillment problems. Ask me how I know. So I don't usually teach a lot of the shoe store stuff because it's tricky, but I put it, for those of you guys who just read Beyond the Agency Box, the third version, 3.0, which has been out on for a few weeks on the old Amazon. I go into detail about what a shoe store is, how to work with them, how that kind of all works. But what you're really after, just, is that endorsement. And the way to get your foot in the door is you just help them with their shit. It sounds really fucking small and stupid, but like, rather than trying to convince them you know anything or you have some valuable skill or trying to say something particularly brilliant, it's the digital equivalent of like you see somebody carrying 2 bags full of groceries and struggling to open the door and you go, just let me get that for you. And you just fucking hold the door for them, right? And what I learned is working with one of the big industry associations for several years is behind the scenes, they're struggling to keep up with their content machine for endless number of reasons because like these are real conversations we'd have. Hey, we got to publish a newsletter and the writer who said he'd be done, like he's missing in action. We got a blank spot in the newsletter. What are we going to put in there? Or hey, we got the big annual event and a couple of people said, it's the same speakers as last year. They don't want to come. We probably need like 5-10 new speakers and something new to tell them. What can we find to go in there? Or, hey, we got a podcast coming up in 3 weeks and we don't have a guest. Who are we going to put in that podcast, right? So they're constantly looking for new and valuable things to say to their audience. So when you come up and say, hey, I know you need new and valuable things to say, so I created new and valuable things and I did all your work for you and I made sure it's like up to your standard and quality, it's like, hey, I just got the door for you. So that's what we're doing, okay? So if you understand that, like magazines, they still work. Podcasts, they still work. Free training for their people, it still works. Let me help you sell your event, still works. I would say it works even better because as stuff changes and evolves, who do they look to? They look to like the industry association, like to stay ahead of the curve, right? Like you people are up to speed more than I am. Give me the lowdown, right? And if they say, hey, you should go to Frankie Fihn or whoever your business is, they're like, it's, in your case, Ryan. If they say go use Ryan's business, it's going to be good for you. And by the way, I'm just throwing it out there. For those of you guys who are joining me live, Facebook's doing that thing where I don't see your messages, but I will respond to your comments after we go offline. Next question we got. Hope that's helpful, my dude. Arsam. Oh, sorry, that was supposed to be anonymous, but I get to see in the group who's posting anonymously. Sorry, my man. He says, Frankie Fihn, do you think with that AI dominating the space, we just go from creating and managing left deliverables to more? Like if someone wrote landing page copy in the past, he'll now get fully coded pages, get stuff written for them and all deliverables, but also get deeply personalized them for each client based upon customized AI audit prompts. Secondly, are we going to see more long tail niches in the market or less? I ask because AI made personalization and customization to the finer, deeper level details quick and easy. Let me know your thoughts. Well, I'll tell you the first thing that I'm seeing, what you're describing is a fact, is AI in essence gives everybody access to what would used to take hundreds of employees, and you get it for free or like $20 a month or like $30 a month, right? But ChatGPT or Claude or whatever it is, Google Gemini, whatever is your flavor of choice. Okay. Because of that, it is now possible for the average person who is producing things for other people to like 100x what they were producing. Like that's a real thing. Just so you guys know, like for me personally, I've wanted to make software for like 20 years, but I don't really have good software people in my world. It's expensive. It takes a long time. There's a level of expertise that I haven't had. But now, like, we're creating our own tools because we can, because AI is like having a whole software back of house that I've wanted for 2 decades. But now I can just do that shit on my fucking own, motherfucker. So that's pretty awesome, right? But as a flip side of that is as you produce more, you definitely become responsible for more. So like, I know for me that one of the phenomenon that I have is I can do 100 times more things in a day than I used to be able to do. But now I'm like having to track 100 times more things. So I think there's going to be people in our world who are producers and make valuable things for other people that are going to experience a level of overwhelm unlike anything they've ever experienced before. Luckily for me, personally, and I think you guys should learn this too, is like I learned to deal with overwhelm in a simple way of just like write it down, breathe through it, just do the next thing on your fucking list, calm the fuck down and do one thing. Or take a step away, right? Like whatever's the right choice. But if you learn to deal with the overwhelm, it's not a huge deal, but you're definitely going to see people more overwhelmed. Now, as far as kind of what you're alluding to, will clients expect more? That's really up to you. But I think the more of the process you do for a client all the way to a sale, the more valuable thing your thing is going to be. And I wrote about this in version 3.0 of Beyond the Agency Box. And the example I use is, let's say we're working with a financial planner and our service is we run some Google or some SEO, and as a result of it, assuming it works, right? But like, let's assume it works and we get more traffic to our website. Okay? So that's one level of result. I'll get traffic to your website. Now, let's say we take that one level further and we add a form to the website that says, fill this baby out and contact us. Now, we're not just saying I'll get traffic to your website, but I'll say I'm going to get that traffic to contact you. That's like level 2, right? Now, let's say we take that another level past that and we say, and we fill out that contact, we're going to qualify them, right? So if it's a financial investor, like probably a question they would want to know is how much money do you got to invest? Do you currently have investments? Are you looking to switch providers? Things like that, right? So I don't know the exact questions, but we can kind of like, get in the ballpark anyway. So let's say now we're not just getting traffic to your website, but now we're having them contact you and we're having them answer some qualifications questions. So you only got to talk to the people who pass the qualification filters. Now let's say we take that another level further and we actually get a scheduled booking. So we have them fill out a Acuity or Calendly or Go High Level, some kind of calendar app. If they're qualified, we present them with a calendar. We say, well, let's schedule a time and let's talk. Okay? So now we've gone from I'll get you people to your website to I'll get people to schedule with you. Now let's take that one level further. Let's say we add in some automations and we get them to actually show up to the booking so that they get a face-to-face qualified meeting. Do you see the difference between the level of service of like, we'll get you some opportunities on your website and you got to figure it out from there versus taking that all the way to the level of like, we'll qualify them, schedule them, book them, and make sure they actually show up, right? So obviously it's going to be a way more valuable service if you can actually take them. So this is why I say the closer you are to the sale, the more money you're going to make. So do you have to do all those extra things? No. But if you want to make more money, I highly suggest you should. And for those of you guys who have already recognized the power of having a niche, and having one group of people you have one solution for, what happens is it's probably a lot of work to create that solution, but you can reuse it from client to client, right? You can reuse the booking system. Yeah, you're going to have to switch it from that calendar to that calendar, but and you can use the same qualifying form you used for the last guy, right? So part of it is designing your solution in a way where it can be reused and valuable. Same way that I always compare it to like when McDonald's was scaling, like they probably spent a lot of effort, like in the very beginning stages, coming up with a burger system that was really, really fast. But once they got that shit in place, like that second and the third and the fourth and the fifth burger came off the production line crazy fast. So if you think about building your agency service, your fulfillment side like a factory, where designing that factory the first time is a lot of fucking work, but the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth burger you make, you're just reusing the same process, right? So the way you design it for one person is the way you design it for everybody. Then there was another question you asked about Are we going to see more long tail niches in the market or less? I don't necessarily know the answer to that, but I'm definitely there are going to be more AI related things. I kind of touched on this earlier, but there's definitely going to be a phenomenon where all of a sudden there's going to be 2,700 tools on the marketplace. I'm already seeing this now when I go into AI groups because there's a new tool coming out every day. The number one question I see is, should I use this or that, this one or that one? How do I do? I'm just trying to do this. Should I do that? Right? So that is going to get replaced with people who come in. Like, you're not going to be able to sell 2,700 fucking tools and be the 2,701st person, but you can be the first one to say, hey, I'll help you set it up, organize it, and build it so that it's in place for you. And, I'll give you some level of support so that, like, it gets in place. And that's what businesses are going to need, by the way. Like, that's the easiest, lowest hanging fruit, is figure out what tools will get them a result and help them to set it up, train their staff, get using the system, stay on point, be able to track it, measure it, real business fundamentals. But they're not going to know how to do that. I see this now where, like, I've shown people like ChatGPT and they just look at the screen and they go, well, what am I supposed to say? Right? And then they try a one sentence lazy man, write me an article, and then writes an article, and the article kind of sucks. And they go, well, I guess AI is no good. And it's like, excuse me, you just don't know how to use it. Just don't know how to fucking use it. Not in any skilled, meaningful way. And by the way, one of the things that makes AI super useful, I learned this from Jeff Hunter and Jonathan Mass. Sorry, I got something that went down the wrong hole there. Wrong hole. Giggity. They showed me that the more you give it context and training, so like, for example, Jeff Hunter has a thing where he says, write me a viral post, and it writes viral posts. But you know what he did? He gave it like hundreds of examples of viral posts before he told him to write one. So most of the work was organizing the hundreds of viral posts. But once he had that, then he could crank out new ones like speed of light, right? And so most people are just starting with the write a viral post, but no context. And without the context, it's not going to be as good. For example, we have a tool that generates agency SOPs, standard operating procedures. These are things, so you create step-by-step instructions for your virtual assistants or whoever you use in your business to follow so that anybody can walk in and like basically be able to replicate certain steps of your burger making process. Well, we spent several hours organizing all these real-life agency SOPs, then gave it to it and said, I'm going to give you a 30,000-foot view of a process in like 2-3 steps. You're going to ask me follow-up questions to make sure we're talking about the same thing, and then you're going to spit out an SOP that my people can use. And it does that first time. I haven't had one of them come back yet, but it only works because we spent hours and hours training it on real-world SOPs that we were already using. So that's how you make AI good. And are there going to be more long tail niches like that? I suspect so. Like, again, I don't have a fucking crystal ball. I can just tell you that every business is going to need this. This is inevitable. And as a result, like, there's going to be all these new problems in the marketplace. And the new problems are not going to be, who's got a social media post or who can answer my phone. It's going to be who can set this up for me so I can actually fucking use it. And so if you're as long as you're thinking about that, I think you're going to be like as in demand as you've ever fucking been in your entire life. If you're thinking about how can I sell the Yellow Pages ad till the very last day, websites, SEO, and pay-per-click and those kind of things, you're gonna get fucking murdered out there. And not immediately, just like I suspect 2 to 5 years is the window of time. But some people that I talk to in the world, they think it's more like 12 to 18 months. I honestly don't know. I just know that once businesses realize what's possible, they ain't going to be paying you $10,000 for some shit they can generate themselves with a prompt. So, anyways, there's my rant. I hope that's helpful to you, my man. Joe says, I see a lot of people in agencies still pitching SEO services, but some very smart people I listen to are saying that Google traffic is at a standstill, if not totally dead. Not many people clicking on the links anymore. What do you think? So yes and no. I think there's two very distinct worlds that are happening right now. One of those is like local, like searching for an ice cream place. Where do I get my iPhone fixed? I want to go to the massage parlor. Which one should I go? Where's the best sushi place in town? And then there's what I would call like more global, like information searches. The global information searches, I think, is the yellow pages. It's dying. It's the newspapers. It's fucking dying. It's like it's dying. There's just no, like, I find myself using Google less and less. I'll give you an example of this. I used to do, like, I mean, I still do a lot of tech troubleshooting, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do. And a lot of times, like, people would think I'm so smart fixing tech problems. And a lot of times all I would do is I would just like literally just Google the error. It would say error 75261. Software name, Google, error 75261. And then I would read pages and pages until I could find something actionable. Well, now I don't have to read pages and pages. I can just tell ChatGPT, give me 3 things that'll work for this. And like, I had it like an iPhone problem last night, and I was just like, I was trying to connect to a Bluetooth. It was giving me an error. It was like, tell me how to fix this. It said you got to download their connectivity app. Gave me the link. I downloaded the app, fixed the problem. I never went to Google. I didn't search that. I didn't need to, right? There's a website called Stack Overflow, and it was created for programmers by programmers, and they've already had, since ChatGPT came out, 95% of their traffic has dropped. And they said the number one reason is people would rather go to ChatGPT. 2 reasons. 1, it's faster. And second reason is you don't get a bunch of sarcastic assholes giving you condescending, like, if you call yourself a programmer, you should fucking know that basic step, idiot. Like, those kind of responses ChatGPT doesn't give you. It just gives you here's no problem. Here's how to fix your shit. And so you can ask it really dumb shit, and it's fine with it. Like basic questions that sometimes people are afraid to ask in communities because you get berated for it by at least 1 or 2 people, right? And so the globe, or the big, large-scale searches, like, that's yellow pages. That's only got a matter of time. Flip side of that is local. I still think that Google is very useful for local. Where to find a plumber. Where to go eat some sushi. Although sometimes, I'll tell you, it makes more sense to use ChatGPT. Like, we went to a restaurant here. It was a really high-end place, and it was super nice, and I couldn't remember the name. I knew it started with a B, and it had, like, some kind of cat logo, you know, like a fucking jaguar or a leopard or a panther or some shit like that. I couldn't remember. And so I couldn't Google it because I didn't even fucking know what it was called. And I went to ChatGPT, said, hey, ChatGPT, I'm looking for a high-end restaurant in La Paz. Starts with a B. Its logo is a cat. Can you give me some possible suggestions? It gave me a list of like 3, and I was like, no, that's not it. And I said, what about this one? I was like, yep, that's the one. And we went back to it, and we had some fucking really delicious tacos, I might add. And so a fancy, I've never had a dessert tamale until I went there, but we had a dessert tamale. But part of it was I couldn't Google it. How do I tell Google, like, I don't know the name of it? Starts with a V. It's got a cat logo. Give me that one. ChatGPT was like, I'll figure that out for you. And so even local is going to be affected, but I think at least for the immediate next 12 to 24 months, that Google local is safe. So if you guys are doing local SEO, I wouldn't just push the panic button just yet. But having said that, if you're doing like broad informational kind of searches, weight loss or be a better parent or therapy, like, you should embrace getting your shit into ChatGPT, not trying to compete with it, because you ain't going to fucking exist. I know that's kind of a downer, but, like, you know, it's just a reality that when the internet came out and you could search businesses, like, nobody wanted to use the yellow pages. It took 10 minutes to, you know, search through ads for pizza just to find out which one had the best reviews. Now we can go to Google and do that in 2 seconds, and it's easier and it's cheaper and it's faster and it's free, right? So I don't see like a lot of that stuff staying the way it's kind of maintained itself in the past. But by the way, I just want to add one more time that Facebook's doing that thing where I don't see your comments live in real time, but I'm happy to respond after any sort of like lengthy ones. We can add them to the docket for next week. But I'm really glad you guys asked these questions, because this is the stuff I'm thinking about, is where is all of this headed? And more importantly, what can we do about it? How can we be ahead of the curve? And I genuinely believe this is the biggest opportunity of our lifetime. And there are people who are going to be kicking themselves 5 years from now, going, oh, fuck, I should have done that when I should have stopped being the Yellow Pages salesman, the website salesman. I could have been doing this and crushed it. The same way that I look back and go, man, I heard about Bitcoin in the early days and I didn't buy shit. I thought it was stupid. and like magic internet money, I'd literally be fucking like close to a billionaire if I had just invested in it back in those days. But I didn't. I wasn't smart enough, right? So I'm not going to miss the boat on this one, and I suggest you guys don't miss the boat on this one. The opportunity is being in earlier than everyone else and knowing how to navigate that space before everyone else. And honestly, it's just really basics. Like ChatGPT and Claude and Google Gemini and similar tools, they just accelerate. Like if you're using like VO3 to make videos, well, you first have to know how to make a video manually before you can do it faster with an editor. But if you have a process for creating cool videos, you just got handed dynamite. Instead of spending like 18 hours editing one cool video, now you can fucking crank one out in 8 minutes and do that every 8 minutes. You can have another one. Like that's a massive advantage. And then you can build a tool that automates all the steps so that you can like hands off publish great fucking videos. That's a story for another day, but that's pretty incredible. So yeah, that's what I think. I think SEO, if you're selling local, you still got at least 2 years before you need to worry about it, but who knows? It's like local's going to be affected by AI as well. In what way, I couldn't tell you, but if you're doing broad shit, you're fucking done. Like nobody's going to be searching your programming questions on Stack Overflow when they can just get an answer from ChatGPT in 2 seconds for free with less fucking snarky, cocksucking kind of answers. Last one we got on the docket here. Mike asks, what tool does everyone use for managing client projects, communication, billing? So those are different things, and I put a list for Mike. I'll put it for you guys as well. We have a list of recommended providers as well as software, so I'll just put a link to that in the chat here for you all right now as soon as this Google Doc loads. But one thing I wanted to say about this is that there's different tools that can all do the job, and the most important detail is not actually which tool is best. It's almost always which tool will you use. So like you asked, what's the best project management software? I have people in our world who love Monday. I have people in our world who love High Level. I have people in my world who love ClickUp. I myself am an Asana user. Some people use Trello. I think of Jess Cotter, she uses Notion to do all that stuff. So is Notion better than ClickUp? Is High Level better than... No, what matters is that you fucking use it. And the whole point of project management software is to create a tool where all your stuff is really in one place, and therefore you can track everything that's happening with clients. When you're a smaller agency, by the way, and you're just starting out, like most of the shit is in your head because that's the only place it needs to be. You got 5 clients. You're not trying to, save the world. And so often with those 5 clients, you don't really need a system, but when you start getting 10, 20, 30, 50, 100, if you have no way of tracking everything that's happening, when you start really getting up there, like you'll know you get up there when you don't even know all of the clients you have. Like I know for us, when we got to like 150 clients, like probably like 10-20% of the clients we had, I had no idea who the fuck they are. Like I would just see their payment receipts, and I knew account managers and stuff were talking to them, but like I never met them, never spoke with them. They were just part of our organization. If you don't have a project management system in that level, you're fucked. Like straight up fucked. So it doesn't really matter whether it's fucking Trello, Asana, or ClickUp or whatever. Like which one are you going to use? Same thing is true. You asked about communication. All right. So we have people who do it all through email. We have people who use Slack. We have people who do it through text. I myself do a lot of our stuff with our clients through Loom videos. Is one better than the other? No. They can be better for you personally, though. Why video for me? Because it's easier to update a client in 2 minutes speaking it than it is to try and set up reports and dashboards and tools and all those things when I can just give them a real life, no nonsense, here's how the fuck it's going kind of update in 2 minutes. But does that mean it's the right answer for everybody? Of course not. Like you have to adapt to your style. Like I noticed, for example, part of the reason I like Asana is because I make a lot of checklists. As you guys can see, like I got pages and pages of fucking checklists. And I didn't need any training or software or whatever. I didn't have to watch a single video. The first time I installed Asana, I knew how to use it because it was intuitive for me. It was like, it's just a digital version of this. The only difference was I was adding a date and I was adding a person's name. So, I had my to-do list, but I was going, hey, that is Karen's responsibility. I want that done by Friday. That was it, right? And so I didn't need to watch a single video. I've seen people who love Trello. Trello is like digital post-it notes. Like if you're like hang up a post-it note for everything you got to do, I think you'll find Trello super intuitive and easy to use. But does that mean like Trello is better than Asana or Asana is better than Trello? No. It matters, which one kind of fits your style. So the same thing is true again of communication. Is like find a way. And again, it's one of those things. If you got 5 or 10 clients, you may communicate with one on Instagram, another on Facebook, 6 of them by email, 2 of them by Slack. If you want to have 50 or 100, you have to have a standardized way of doing that with everybody. Phone updates, meetings, Zoom updates. Don't fucking matter, right? As long as you're consistent with it across the board. And then billing. The only thing I'll say about billing is, again, there's a lot of tools that do billing. I put a link for those of you guys to our recommended providers. I posted it. I hope that went through. But here's all I'm going to say about billing. Do auto billing. Do not manually bill, motherfuckers. That means don't do invoices. Don't do tracking. Don't do chasing, motherfuckers. Don't do any of that shit. Do automated billing so that when a client like payment needs to go through, that you don't have to have like an accounts receivable department because otherwise you get in all these weird situations where you're like, should I continue with this client? They haven't paid me. They haven't responded. They haven't touched their invoice. Like, don't make it hard for people. Just tell them up front. This is how we do it. And by the way, that statement for a lot of client facing things is just like, here's how we do it around here. Is that a problem for you? Or is that cool? That kind of thing. I call that being the benevolent alpha or the benevolent dictator. I like dictator because it's got the word dick in it, but the old dictator. But when you're the benevolent dictator, like you just tell people how shit's going to go down. And usually most times they just say, okay, that's cool. Hey, here's how we do things around here. We do automated billing because I'm not really just good at accounts receivable and chasing. So you'll just get it automated. It'll automatically send you a receipt. We have that set up through Stripe and Zoho Payments. Here's an example of it. Is any of that an issue for you? No? That's cool. All right, cool. Right, that's it, right? So I want you guys to understand, like, most of it is you just tell clients how it's going to go down, and that's how it goes down. So that means with your project management, keep it all in one place. That means with your communication, keep it all in one place. With your billing, keep it all in one place, and let people know in advance this is how it's going to go down. Same thing is true with employees. Like for me, hey, we use Asana to track everything. Have you ever used Asana? No? Okay, I'm going to give you a little training just to get you up to speed on it. But I don't give you an option of, do you want to use Asana today? See, when you have like 5 clients, you can give them a menu of options. Hey, how would you like updates? Do you want me to text you? Do you want me to email you? Can you download Slack? When you got 50 or dare I say 500 clients, you can't be winging it each time. You just can't. You have to have a systematic way of doing it. And by the way, it can be a deal breaker if somebody says like, well, I can't do email updates, and you only do email updates for all 49 other clients. You're not going to make an exception for the one, even if it means a lost contract, because it would take re-engineering your entire systems, a whole new thing to track, all this complexity, all because this person doesn't want to use email. Hey, Mr. So-and-so, I totally understand. And I get you want to have text-based updates, but we're just not set up for that, and we would just do a bad job. Is that a deal breaker for you? And if they say yeah, then you probably got to walk away. And if it's not, you got to say, okay, well then I'm going to have to teach you how to fucking use email, motherfucker. Anyways, that's all the questions we got this week. I appreciate you guys asking these because I've been wanting to rant on this AI stuff for a while. I'm actually going to be speaking at Karen and JC's the Commitment Summit in Cancun. We're staying at a 5-star resort, and there's going to be a lot of baller agencies in there, and I'm going to be on the panel, and I'm talking about that exact thing. Really, is there's a lot of uncertainty in the market where people recognize AI is coming on. Google's making AI ads and AI targeting. Facebook's doing the same, and you're seeing the writing on the wall. Like, what does this mean for agencies if I can't bill my clients for managing ads and creatives and stuff like that because Google's just taking those options away? What's going to happen to me? And so we're there to answer the what's going to happen to me, and not just what's going to happen to me in a fearful, negative, oh my God, the yellow page is dying, but in a opportunistic, entrepreneurial, how can we capitalize on this, create a bunch of value, help a bunch of people, and make a bunch of fucking money for ourselves, and make our clients better off for it, that kind of thing. So if you guys are interested in that, shoot me a message, because I believe she said this morning there's still 2 spots left. That's it. And then the entire event is sold out. It's a very high-end invite-only thing. But if you guys are interested, shoot me a message, and I will send you a special link. You get a couple $100 off with my link, and you get to hang out with me personally, which I think pretty fucking cool, in my opinion. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys this week. Happy Monday. Much love. Appreciate you guys. May the force be with you. Buy my book, or I will put glitter in your socks. Every single pair.